How we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, and welcome back to another video. So I've been having a blast on the beta recently, and I've been leveling up a bunch of the professions. And more than just trying to figure out how to level them up, I'm now taking it one step further, and I'm trying to work out, well, okay, if you've chosen a certain profession, then what specialization might we start being interested in? And this is where there's lots of, to use a phrase that Blizzard loves, meaningful choice. You get to choose a specialization, and if you focus on that specialization, you have the opportunity to be considerably better at that one area of a profession than others. And so this is really intriguing for me, and I wanted to start learning, well, which are the specs that are going to stand out from the crowd. A few days ago, we did a bit of a tier list. We did a tier list on the professions, and without giving away any spoilers in case you haven't seen that video, some professions are clearly standing above others. Today, though, we're going to focus on jewel crafting. I want to take a little bit of a look at jewel crafting. I'm slightly biased because it's one of my main professions on my main character. I tend to really enjoy jewel crafting, and I tend to find it's a profession that performs remarkably well in any expansion. There's always some good gold to be made from jewel crafting. But more importantly, today I wanted to sort of work out, well, what does it take to become the absolute best at cutting gems? Now, this is irrespective of what we think gems are going to be like in the expansion. The reality is that, well, if you want to specialize in gems, what are you going to need to do? So let's take a little bit of a look at this. Let's try and break this down in a bit of detail and work out what's going on. First thing, obviously, you're going to need to level jewel crafting. There's going to be some prerequisites to this. You're going to need to have leveled your jewel crafting at least up to sort of at least 25 points, but preferably 50 points, so that you have access to a couple of the specialization trees. Please excuse the UI. Blizzard have completely scuffed the UI on the beta at the moment. Everything seems to work okay, but it just looks funky. I'll try and explain in as much detail as possible what's going on, because the UI doesn't always help. But the first thing we're going to need to do is take a little bit of a look at which of the specializations that we're going to focus on. And if we want to be that #1 gem cutting wizard, if we want to be crafting all of the gems at the best quality, unlocking the epic gems and being able to craft those as well, we are going to need to put some time and effort into the faceting tree. This is the primary one for gem cutters. If you want to be making jewelry, you'll go somewhere else. If you want to be specialized in prospecting, you'll go somewhere else. But if you're entirely focused on making the best possible gems, faceting is going to be where you're going to be spending most of your points. To start with, you don't need to do too much. You just need to unlock a few patterns realistically. 10 points in faceting will get you to the ability where you can unlock one of the 4 specializations. And this is where you need to then make choice number 2. There's lots of choices you got to make with this. You got to decide, right, am I going to go air? Am I going to go earth? Am I going to go fire? Or am I going to go frost? Now, this is something that I'll leave up to you, simply because if everybody does exactly the same thing, then it will be bad for everybody. You need people to pick and choose different directions. But if you're going to be a master of gem cutting, you're going to need to pick one of these. And then you're going to need to go out there and put a whole bunch of points in this. You need to technically put 40 points into this really, really quickly. So that's going to be a total of 50 skill points that you're going to need to put into faceting before you look at doing anything else. When you get 40 points in, let's just use air as an example for this video, you unlock this one. Learn how to cut the illimited diamonds with the air essences to create the fierce illimited diamond. So at this point, we've unlocked our first epic pattern. We can see, if we take a little bit of a look here, there's 4 epic gem cuts in Dragonflight, and these are going to offer monstrous amounts of primary stat and then secondary stat of your choice. One for crit, one for verse, one for mastery, one for haste. Now, getting these to be crafted at top quality is no simple feat. You are going to not only have to put a huge amount of points into faceting to begin with, then into the specialization of your choice. You're also going to need to put some points in Jeweler's Toolkit Mastery as well. I figured out that you need to put at least 30 points into this little specialization as well, just because it is going to boost up that skill. You need as much skill as you can get your hands on to be that best gem cutter. If you take a little bit of a look at the epic cuts here, we can see that there's a recipe difficulty on the epic cuts of 375. This is borderline impossible to actually guarantee every single time without doing some special things. I've min-maxed the absolute crap out of jewel crafting so far, and I've still only been able to get my skill up to 361 as a guaranteed skill. The 375 number is what you need to achieve to guarantee the top quality ones. Now, this is where profession tools come in. You are going to need to have the best of the best profession tools to push you to this position. Not only are you spending points in the spec trees, you're also going to need your illustrious lupes, you're going to need a resplendent cover, and you are going to need the lapidaries Casgarite clamps. Some really interesting names on all of these. But you might notice that these are giving you bonus skill as well. Your profession tool is going to give you plus 10 bonus skill, and the 2 accessories that you have access to will give you plus 6. Now, as a jewel crafter, we're lucky. We can make one of these ourselves. The Alexstrasite lupes, this we can make ourselves. As a jewel crafter, we can make this ourselves, but we are going to need to find the expertise of others to be able to make the resplendent cover and the Casgarite clamps. Casgarite clamps come from engineering, so you're going to need to find either an engineering friend or someone skilled on your server to be able to make one of these for you. And the resplendent cover comes from leatherworking. Now, if you've got obviously those professions on alt, when we get the work order system in place, we might be fortunate enough to be able to, fulfill orders with alts. If that does become a thing, of which, fingers crossed, it is a thing, maybe your leather workers, maybe your engineers on alts will be able to make this for you. Otherwise, you're going to need to find those skilled people on your realm. But you want to get these as higher quality as possible. And in terms of secondary stats, my recommendation is you want to pump as much inspiration as you can get your hands on. Simply because you are seemingly never going to easily be able to hit this 375 every single time, guaranteed. I've done pretty much everything I can figure out, and I've still only got a skill of 361. You can push it above 375, but it's going to require you to use one of the finishing reagents. The finishing reagent is the lesser illustrious insight. This increases the skill by 30. So of course, if we were to use one of this, then hey presto, all of a sudden we are guaranteeing max quality gem cuts at this level. The downside is that these are costing artisan's metal, which is quite a rare resource and something that you are ultimately never going to have enough of. We can see it on the list here somewhere if I can find it. Where's it gone? Somebody's hidden it from me. Illustrious insight, here we go. So you can see you make a single illustrious insight, which takes 50 artisan's metal. This is quite a substantial amount of artisan's metal. And then you can break this down into 5 of the lesser ones. So 50 artisan's metal will make you 5 epic gems. The reality is that you have to spend 50 in one go, but it breaks it down to be 10 artisan's metal per. And that should hopefully be enough to get you guaranteed top quality epic gem cuts. So you can go out and you can fulfill those work orders that will no doubt be, filling the auction house relatively quickly. You are going to need to be using absolutely top quality materials to be able to achieve this as well. The 2 materials that you're going to have to consider is the actual diamonds themselves and then the rare gems. There is a slight caveat to this specialization, is that you've not put any knowledge points into becoming better at prospecting. So in the early days, you are actually going to be put in a slightly weird situation as a jewel crafter, of that these limited diamonds, you're going to need tier 3 quality diamonds. You're not going to be able to get those yourself. Your prospecting skill, because you've put all of your points into cutting the best quality gems, you're not going to be able to get these yourself. You're also going to need the expertise of another jewel crafter to come along and help you to get the best quality ones. If we take a little bit of a look at the prospecting, even if I select the best quality Casgarite ore, I still don't quite guarantee myself top quality gems every time I'm prospecting. You can continue after you've put the first 100 or so points into this specialization. You can go into enterprising and you can then start putting points into prospecting. But the reality is what you're probably going to want to do after you've maximized out one of these is move to the next one. And then every additional 40 points you're going to unlock the frost one, the fire one, the earth one, or the air variation of it. So you'll start with that one epic gem cut, and you'll become the master at that one cut, and then you'll progress further on. It's going to be really quite interesting to see in which direction people do choose to go. And I understand in this video, if you don't have access to beta and you're just trying to keep up with what's going on with Dragonflight, or even if you're watching this once Dragonflight has launched, that there's maybe an information overload here, and I understand that. This is why I've put together all of this information in text format. It is in my Dragonflight cheat sheet. Pre-Dragonflight launch, this is a supporter-only cheat sheet. If you happen to be a YouTube member, a Twitch subscriber, or a patron of mine, you have access to this. There's a link to it in the Discord. My plan is to make it available to as many people as possible once the game goes live, but it's clearly during the beta process a work in progress. But I am starting to build out the spec build section for the different professions. Gem cutter's the first one. There's obviously going to be many to come. Each profession will probably have 2 or 3 of them, but all of the information here is in place. The path that you're going to need to put your points in, the profession equipment you may need, and if you need to sort of specify, you know, if you need certain secondary stats on it for the spec to work, I've put some notes here as well. So 110 knowledge points, which for those who are interested is probably going to take most players 3 or 4 weeks to acquire. But if you focus on gem cutting as a build, this is what you can expect. This is how it's going to pan out. If you like this format of video though, boys and girls, please give me comments down below. More importantly, if there's any professions you'd like me to focus on first. Of course, there's a lot of crafting professions, and when I start to try and do builds for each one, there's even more potential builds that there could be. So it's not possible for me to do a build for every profession on every spec. But let me know in the comments down below if there's any you've spotted or you're interested in, and I'll try and, you know, bump those up the list. But I'll leave it there for today, boys and girls. I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It really helps the channel. We're having a huge amount of growth at the moment in the run-up to Dragonflight, so big welcome to anybody that's new to the channel. And if you're a veteran of the channel, thank you for returning. Hope you're still finding the videos interesting, informative, and entertaining. But anyway, boys and girls, enjoy the rest of your day. I've been Manthieus. I'll see you all next time. Peace.